State Institute of Languages for the Presidential Address.
Honorable Governor of Kerala, Justice P. Sadashivam, Venerable Swami Muni Narayana Prasad, respected Sri Abdul Samad Samadani, Sri S. Radhakrishnan, respected dignitaries on and off the dais, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure the State Institute of Languages has organized this book releasing function, one of the most prestigious among such functions in the history of our organization. The Institute is celebrating its Golden Jubilee, which had already started in last September, for the inauguration of which we had invited Justice P. Sadashivam, the Honorable Governor of Kerala. He was kind enough to accept our invitation at that time, but owing to ill health, he couldn't grace us with his presence. But now the time has come for the institution to have the graceful presence of the same personality for an equally momentous occasion in the history of the institution for releasing our publication of the Upanishads. We are proud that our institution is the only one of its kind in the country which had published the entire works of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar amounting to 40 volumes and which remains as a bestseller. We are going to publish the second edition of the volume shortly. The 8 Upanishads which are being released here are part of a set of 10 Upanishads interpreted by Muni Narayana Prasad. They are Mundago Upanishad, Mandukya Upanishad, Keno Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, Prashno Upanishad, Aidariya Upanishad and Katho Upanishad. 2 of which had already been published earlier are Ishovasya Upanishad and Shveda Charodasa. As everybody knows, the Upanishads constitute the end portion of the corpus of Vedic literature, that is the Vedanta. But nobody knows who composed them. They are Shrutis, which means something which is heard. Handed down from generation to generation, the Upanishads came to us in the present form, being interpreted by innumerable interpreters which multiplied the corpus of literature into unmanageable dimensions. The central theme of the Upanishad philosophy had evolved out of the eternal inquiry of our ancient forefathers to understand the intricacies of the innumerable celestial bodies, the mutual relation among themselves, and the relation between them and the individual human being. The irresistible thirst for knowledge and the curiosity to understand one's own self, motivated and cultivated by our forefathers, resulted in the production of umpteen quantity of literature, very often contradictory as well as complementary. The net result of such intellectual discourse was the revelation that the microcosm is in communion with the macrocosm, that the indivisible, illimitable and indestructible individual Atman is inseparably intertwined with the warp and woof of the universal Brahman. Muni Narayana Prasad has interpreted 10 of such Upanishads which the Language Institute is proud to publish. By kindly consenting to release such a book of inestimable value, the Honorable Governor of Kerala, Justice P. Sadashivam, has redressed our grievance caused once because of his inability to inaugurate the Golden Jubilee celebrations in last September. I express my deep gratitude for his readiness to accept our invitation. Just like the ancient sages who had interpreted the Upanishads into innumerable ways, Justice P. Sadashivam, as a judge to the various high courts and finally the apex court, the Supreme Court of India, has interpreted the Indian Constitution, from which all our rights as human beings emanate, into innumerable ways to bring justice to the common man who cry out with their parched throats for a loaf of bread. The 4 pillars on which the Indian Constitution is erected, namely justice, liberty, equality and fraternity, reverberate in every word of his judgments. Those judgments were his own way of interpreting the Upanishads, upholding the principle that there should be an inseparable communion between the rulers and the ruled in enforcing ultimate justice to the deprived, the destitute and the downtrodden. His historic judgment directs the state governments to prohibit manual scavenging is the consummation of the constitutional provision of upholding the dignity of the individual and the integrity of the nation. As the Chancellor of the Universities in Kerala, He introduced the Chancellor's Award for the best university, which is a paradigm shift in enhancing the quality of education and reminding of their responsibility to the society at large. It was a short treatment to the universities to understand themselves and have a critical introspection. The Upanishads being released here is received by Sri Abdul Samad Samadani, an eminent parliamentarian, an erudite scholar, and a forceful orator. After the conclusion of his book releasing function, he will deliver a lecture on the essence of Upanishad philosophy, which is titled as Upanishad Jnana Sagaram, the ocean of Upanishad philosophy. When the eternal and eternal values derived and formulated by our forefathers, which were meant for the welfare of the humanity, are at stake, let us liberate ourselves from the slippery slope of moral degradation into which we have fallen. As Thomas Hobbes in his Leviathan characterized the state of nature, where life was solitary, nasty, brutish and short, we at this end of human life on earth have to evoke what W.H. Auden has written in his poem, quote, "All that I have is a voice to undo the folded lie. The romantic lie in the brain, the sensual man in the street. The lie of authority whose buildings scrape the sky. Hunger allows no choice to a citizen of the police. We must love one another or we must die," unquote. If democracy is a system which stands for the greatest happiness of the greatest number, ladies and gentlemen, let us dedicate our lives for the fulfillment of that goal. Logo Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Thank you very much.